a different background. I am in a different location, but that news is coming soon. So just bear with it. Apparently, Vivek Ramaswamy is on a roll. He's just calling everybody out, and at this point, he's just like, hey man, it is what it is. Today, we are going to watch an interview with Vivek Ramaswamy and NBC News exclusive. They had two interviewees interviewing him. I don't know why, but this is my first time watching it. It is going viral. But yeah, today we're gonna watch Vivek Ramaswamy in this interview. So let's go ahead and get into it.
You've put a lot of ideas out there. You've suggested on the campaign trail that January 6th was an inside job, that the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer was a job of inside entrapment, that the House Republicans, let me finish, that the House Republicans impeachment inquiry is part of a Democratic plot to sideline Biden, that there is a devious Democratic scheme to actually nominate Nikki Haley. The reality is none of these are top issues for Iowa voters. So why are you focused on these conspiracy theories?
Well, focused is a heavy-handed word, Dasha. If you take 80% of what I said, I'm talking about policy and future direction of the country, talking about how we'll increase the supply of energy to bring down the cost for everyday Americans. And so that's 80% of what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to hide from what I do believe are realities hiding in plain sight that people deserve to know about, which the last item that you described. It's not a secret that Larry Fink is going to fundraisers of Nikki Haley, propping her up. That actually one of the biggest funders of the lawsuits against Trump, including efforts to keep him off the ballot, is Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn. That's a $250,000 donor to super PAC supporting Nikki Haley. And so I reject this mainstream media general narrative of dismissing something as a conspiracy theory, when in fact I'm a big fan of going after facts hiding in plain sight.
But you know that when you say these things, you know when you bring up the Gretchen Whitmer thing, you know when you bring up January 6th,
grounded in fact.
January 6th being an inside job. Yes, 80% of what you talk about might be policy, but when you hit those issues, that's going to take over the news cycle. You know how it works.
I don't think it should. I'm speaking the truth,
but
as it does
you're a smart guy. You know how it works. Are you using that to get attention as you've been slumping in the polls?
To the contrary, I'm actually speaking. You have a lot of political analysts that look at this and say exactly what you're saying. Why aren't you just saying what causes you to poll better? It's what every other political candidate's doing. They're taking what their consultants serve them up. Here's what the voters say are the top issues. Spout back to them what the voters want to hear.
So why?
I'm sharing my true convictions. And I think if we want to revive our constitutional republic, we deserve a government that tells the people the truth again. Not just when it's easy, but when it is hard. Our government...
Look, one thing about Vivek Ramaswamy, whether you're a big fan of him or not, Vivek is going to say what is on his mind. He's going to say what he believes is the truth. I do think they are steering away from his points. Them asking him, why are you focusing on these rather than real policy issues, kind of makes it seem like what he is saying is true. I'm not saying everything he's saying is true or wrong, whatever the case may be, but it's just like, why are y'all just deflecting from the points he's making, if that makes sense? Yeah, Vivek Ramaswamy is an interesting fellow, just to say the least.
Has systematically lied to us on things that really matter. Of the origin of COVID-19, we were told for years that it didn't come from a lab in China, when it absolutely did. In fact, you were suppressed on social media for saying it. The eve of the last election, I think it's shameful that the Hunter Biden laptop story was systematically suppressed so voters didn't have that information.
But that's not what you're talking about. You're talking about Gretchen Whitmer being an inside job of entrapment.
I'm talking about a government that has lied to its people. The same FBI that's investigating conservatives, the same FBI and the same law enforcement apparatus, Jack Smith, that has subpoenaed millions of Americans for anybody who liked or retweeted a Donald Trump post in 2020. That's Orwellian, but that's the same federal law enforcement apparatus that put people up to an alleged kidnapping plot that they otherwise wouldn't have been put up to. Multiple defendants acquitted on grounds of entrapment. And so is this a top issue that voters bring up on the mind of voters? Absolutely it's not. But if the mainstream media is pushing, and the establishment in both parties is pushing one established narrative.
So if it's not a priority for voters, why are you so focused on it?
Because truth is a priority for me. That's the answer. Truth is the priority for this campaign.
I'm not even gonna hold you. He got her with that one. Like, ooh. I'm still stuck on the fact that why do they have two people interviewing him? But that's another conversation. He got her on that one. If he's saying, like, his whole campaign, he's been saying he's going to stand on the truth, stand on his truth, and stand on his beliefs, point blank, period. And his track record is following that. Like I said before, I may not agree with a lot of his policies. A lot of people may not agree with a lot of his policies or the way he goes about with those policies. But you separating that, just looking at him as an individual and standing his ground, I give him props. We can't confirm or deny everything he's saying is true, is factual, or a conspiracy theory. That's another thing. People use conspiracy theory so lightly. Like, at this point, it's just like anything that you say that's not in mainstream media, it's a conspiracy theory. But nonetheless, let's finish.
We don't need to be speaking to what every other professional politician is spouting off. We need to speak the hard truths that other candidates are unwilling to touch. And even though that doesn't poll necessarily on what NBC or the Des Moines Register or another media outlet is going to ask voters what are the top issues on their mind, it's important. What really is important to many voters, I believe, is a government that trusts them with the hard truth again. That hasn't happened for a very long time. And so my view is, if that's what the voters want, that's what they're going to get from me. If they want somebody who's going to incrementally reform things, change tax rates by 1% one direction or another, and call that a legislative accomplishment, go with somebody else. That's not me. But if you want a candidate who is actually going to revive the ideals of 1776, who is going to trust the people transparently with what the government knows to be true, if you want a government that actually is of and for and by the people again, I think I'm the sole candidate in this race who can deliver that. And that choice is up to the voters, but I believe that's what the voters will want. If not, I won't be the president.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
But if
Very, very interesting. For one, I think a lot of people who support Trump support Ramaswamy. That's another reason why his poll numbers isn't the best. In my opinion, I do think that if Trump wasn't in the race, Ramaswamy would be his poll numbers would be looking a lot different than what they do now. Two, I do think, as an outside looking in, I'm not part of the Republican Party, but from the outside looking in, I do think they're trying so hard to prop Nikki Haley, mainly because she is easily swayed. You can pretty much buy her beliefs at this point. If you're a Nikki Haley fan, just look at her record. This is my opinion. I think she's easily bought, or has already been bought, technically. So you can see like her poll numbers all of a sudden going up and up and up and up. Especially after all those donors and all the money coming in and so forth. Do I think she's going to beat Trump? I still don't think she's strong enough to beat Trump. But nevertheless, I do think Vivek did really good defending himself in this interview. I don't think everything he's saying is a conspiracy theory. Like I said before, people need to stop using that word so lightly, literally. Maybe it's just facts. Maybe it's their opinion. But conspiracy theory, please. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the comments down below. Be sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on post notifications so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Sorry, y'all, for the echo again. Different location, but good news coming soon. This is Udoak, connecting people with policy. I love y'all all. God bless. Deuces.